Spring training is halfway done, and we're halfway to opening day. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Sogcast. I'm Patrick.
I'm Matt.
I'm Garrett.
I'm Nate.
Halfway point. Got what? 14 days left till from the time of us recording to when opening day is for the Seattle Mariners. Season starts a little bit early. MLB is doing another kind of overseas. I guess they're not exhibition games because they do count for the regular season. But yeah, the Dodgers and the Padres are going to, what is it, South Korea and playing a series there. Mariners did that a couple years ago when they played Oakland in Tokyo to start the season like a week ahead of everyone else. It's a little weird.
I like it. I'm ready to watch Ha-Sung Kim bang in Korea.
I'm just ready for baseball, like full regular season baseball.
Me too. As the season approaches, the Mariners have been sending players to their minor league camp as well, so they're kind of paring down the roster. I've been noticing lately there's been like 2 games in a day sometimes where one of them is kind of our locked-in roster and lineup, and the other one is kind of our younger players, or they're kind of getting guys work on 2 fields on the same day. But the lineups are looking more put together. For example, Crawford, Haniger, Raleigh, France, Canzone, Urias, Rayleigh, Moore, Haggerty is a way more put together lineup than what we've been seeing early. So it's good to see that they're giving the guys that are going to be on the 26 roster the work at their respective positions. I've been seeing Urias and Rojas playing third base, as we expect, since we picked up Polanco to lock down the second base spot. Dylan Moore, he's been playing some center field, second base, shortstop. He's doing what he does in his super utility role, and
super utility.
Yeah. And I'm just excited to see the boys perform under the lights when they turn on in a couple weeks. And until then, we're just gonna talk some baseball.
Yeah, it is kind of nice wrapping up like spring training. Then, like you were saying, you do get to kind of see the traditional lineups, at least for even like half the games. You know, like the first week or so of spring training, it's like no everyday starters. And if it is, it's literally like one at bat. So it is, as the season is approaching, we're definitely seeing our everyday roster get more and more game time.
It's much more exciting to see guys like Polanco and Julio Rodriguez towards the top of the order, and knowing what it looks like when it's on paper finally.
And our starters are starting to go deeper. I think Luis Castillo threw like 5 innings today. So, you know, they're having him go deeper into games. And especially because now they are starting to cut down on players, send them back to their camps and stuff. So, you know, you had that like 85-man spring training roster, and it's slowly but surely trickling down to the 25-man or 26-man now, I guess.
Yeah, we have a few guys hanging around. Like Brian Anderson has been around the league for a little while, and he's hanging around with the Mariners. Trammell is still hanging around too. We'll see if he makes the roster. There's some guys that we sent down to the minor league camp, like Cole Tucker, who has also been around for a few years, but it's not a surprise that he goes down to the minor league. He's not going to make the 26-man, but he is our depth. Guys like Tyler Locklear, a young guy, Cole Young, another young guy, Colt Emerson, all of our prospects, they all get sent down as expected. As we get closer to the beginning of the season, I just want to see everyone healthy and happy, and hopefully the weather up here in Seattle isn't too brutal when the season does open here at the end of March against Boston. Because I don't like that they go from Arizona back to the cold, wet marine layer Seattle right away, but we'll see. But I think, like I've been saying, this roster seems more stable, and we know what to expect from them from day one, rather than all the moving pieces and maybes that we've seen them start off the seasons with the last couple of years.
Yeah, that is always such a hassle, though. Like, you're in Arizona, it's 70, 80 degrees. Your body's getting used to that temperature, working out under that temperature, playing in that temperature. And then sure enough, you come back to rainy, cold Seattle, and it's cold here for like 2 months into the season.
And the air is thick.
Yeah.
The ball doesn't fly through the air just as well, and it's tough for a little while. It's tough to get back adjusted and play every day to your highest capabilities and try to recover quickly. And that's what I'm hoping our pitchers can get through the first part of the season intact, because right now they look healthy. I'm really happy we're stretching out a little bit. Brian Wu had a good start, right?
Yeah, he did.
We had Luis Castillo stretching out a bit, and I really like where we're at. I just hope that when we start this season, the pitchers can adapt to the colder weather and stay healthy, because we saw Robbie Ray go down trying to gut it out in the 7th inning in like Detroit last year. I don't know where a couple of years ago. I don't know what it is. He tries to gut it out in the cold weather and gets injured is the idea, and we're trying to avoid all of that. We need our rotation to be intact all year long. I'm excited to see what they can do, especially with Kirby being kind of a dark horse Cy Young candidate. Luis Castillo is also a Cy Young candidate. So I want the season to start off strong and with many strikeouts. And I just hope the pitchers can adjust more. I think it's more important for the pitchers than the hitters at the beginning of the season in cold weather like that.
Well, especially in those first couple weeks or even, first month of the season, starters aren't going to go as deep into games as they will, in July or whatever, when you want them to go 6 or 7 innings.
Yeah, we hope to see a lot out of our starters to start the season. But then, like you said, they're not going to go as deep as they would into a game a little later in the season. And we do have a couple soggy relievers.
Yeah,
is that a concern for you? Do you think Brash and Gregory Santos not being there to start the season is going to, tax our bullpen a little bit?
I mean, yeah, that is a reasonable thing to be concerned about, because your bullpen is going to get more usage in the early parts of that season as starters are adjusting to going deeper into games. It's not uncommon for every pitcher's first start of the season to, be 5 innings max. I'm sure that, that's not the golden rule, but you see it more often than not as they adjust, especially to real game time speed rather than spring training.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do. It is a little bit of something to be slightly worried about at the opening of this season with how much use our bullpen is going to get.
Yeah, especially with the news that Jackson Kowar is going to be down for the whole entire season. We were kind of looking at Kowar as possibly being a multi-inning middle relief guy who can eat up those innings, especially earlier in the season. But does he have to get Tommy John surgery? He has a season-ending injury either way. So
either way, it's soggy.
So we don't get to see what Jackson Kowar can do for us, especially in the early part of the season when they may have been able to test him out more and see what he can do down the stretch. But that just pushes guys like Austin Voth up in that role. And we have Matt Thornton. Is it Matt Thornton?
Trent Thornton.
Trent Thornton. Sorry. Yeah, wrong guy. Trent Thornton and Austin Voth, they might be able to step up and into multi-inning relief roles. And we'll see. We always have a plethora of right-handed relief pitchers, and we can interchange and switch and swap and all that stuff until our main back end is healthy. The pickup of Ryan Stanek was really nice, knowing that we have these injuries. But it does kind of put the Mariners in a tough spot early where we may not have the lockdown bullpen that we thought we had right away. And that, hopefully that doesn't add to too much volatility early in the season and they can fall into their roles early even without those guys. Even Jerry Dipoto was saying yeah, we have a ton of velocity, and when all our guys are healthy, we have a shit ton of velocity. It was some quote like that. So we don't have a lot to worry about in the bullpen because we have a stack of guys who are able to fill in and play that role until we are fully healthy.
One thing I've been kind of concerned about, or at least noticed this spring, now that our starters are getting regular reps, they're all playing pretty damn well. The only person who has not had a good spring training at all is Logan Gilbert. He has been getting pieced up. And again, hopefully it doesn't carry over into the regular season and these games don't matter. It could still be that he's working on different pitching stuff or trying to work a pitch into his repertoire or whatever, but he has been getting pieced up pretty good in this spring training in his few starts.
Yeah, it's been noticeable, but spring training is a time where pitchers are working on their stuff, right? They're trying to get the best movement out of their pitches regardless of where it is in the zone. Or maybe they are working on getting the ball to one part of the zone. The hitter knows what's coming. They're not really sequencing the batters like they would in the regular season. So right now, I'm still not worried as long as he's healthy and his velo looks good and his movement looks good. He's probably still working on his splitter and maybe trying to get more movement on a slider, more a sweeper type movement, and he's not worried about the spot he's hitting as much as just how it feels off the hand and the motion. And they are tracking all those pitches with their devices to see how much movement they can get, what's the spin rate, and all that kind of stuff. So right now, I just think they're not working on sequencing the hitters. And during the season, we know Logan is a pretty cerebral guy, and him and Cal work really well together to attack batters. And right now, they're not quite there, which is fine. Another guy in our bullpen, though, Carlos Vargas, is a guy who throws 100 too. So another guy who can step into those roles. I mean, we don't have Seawald or Topa, who were lockdown guys, but we do still have quite a few guys who can take a step up into that role, which I do like, and especially with the velocity that Vargas brings.
Now that we've got even more heat in the bullpen, I wonder if they're still going to push the Los Bomberos.
Oh, the Bomberos.
I don't know. They kind of went into it last year, but then they started falling apart.
Yeah, as soon as they named them, they just fell off a cliff.
Yeah, it was like really bad. And they have the dopest introduction and stuff, and like especially when Munoz comes in. But yeah, like our bullpen was like top in the league last year, and they were like, "Oh, we got to name these guys because they're so dope," like a Legion of Boom or So they got named and had the cool graphics, the cool intro, all that shit, and then it kind of tapered off a little bit. That was a little disheartening.
Yeah, it was kind of bad timing. And then we ended up trading Paul Seawald at the deadline too, which hurt. It didn't help the Bomberos branding, I guess. But yeah, the intro is really cool with the sirens and the flames. They kind of have the lights down and there's flames and it's so cool, man.
It is really cool. Anyone listening, go to a Mariners game and hope Munoz is pitching, and you can watch that.
Yeah, the save situation. Woo.
Is gnarly.
They got that cool rave ship that sails in.
I love that. They do that on like Fridays, I think. There's like a certain night they do the pirate song rave graphic. That one's always really, really cool.
Do you guys remember the Funk Blast?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I remember, especially when like Ibanez would hit a home run, they do the Funk Blast.
Now we've got the Macklemore intros. Macklemore does a bunch of...
Do you like the Macklemore intro?
No.
This is the moment. Tonight is the night.
Nope. I mean,
put our hands up.
It's like, it's dope that he loves Seattle.
Can't hold us. Sorry.
It's like dope that he's from Seattle, and he kind of had the popularity and stuff. He's kind of a corny guy, but, it's fine. But.
Yeah, it's okay, but I think they can do better. I just wonder when that's gonna change. It still seems pretty fresh.
Yeah, they have Joel McHale do it sometimes.
Oh yeah,
Joel McHale does some graphics. He's from around here.
That's always fun to see.
Need some Chris Pratt and Anna Faris.
Are they Mariners fans?
They're from here.
I know Adam Ray really likes the Mariners, which is good because we like Adam Ray.
Yeah, he's cool.
Dustin Nickerson really likes the Mariners. And that's about all the celebrities who give a shit about the Mariners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joel Damon likes the Mariners.
Who's Joel Damon?
He's a pro golfer.
Oh, okay.
Hell yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, hell yeah.
Branching out.
He's from Longview, Washington.
All right.
All right.
Shout out Southside.
But yeah, there's some of the, I don't know. Going to the stadium is just fun. I mean, all the sights and sounds. Like, baseball is probably the best sport to see in person. Maybe basketball, too. Like, basketball live and stuff. But, like, other sports like football, you're better off staying at home and watching it. But going to the ballpark, man, there's nothing that beats it.
Yeah, the sights, the smells, the sounds, actually hearing the ball crack the bat, like the fresh cut grass, watching them in between innings rake out the infield, everything. They used to go dance in between innings, like some of the innings during the game too, and they'd go drag the field. You remember all the dudes
I
with the
remember
rakes?
they had their little dance
was-
routine.
Bob Christopherson or Chris, I don't know. I forget his name, but
Chris
he used to
Christopherson.
he used to work in Tacoma, and he used to take kids on like rides around the infield when they'd drag it between games, and we rode in the cart sometimes. My sister fell out of it onto the infield one time. It was pretty cool. But Bob was the man. Him and his crew did work there for a long time and always did the little dance in between, the YMCA and all that.
Yeah, that was also the dancing. I equate the dancing with some really bad years of Mariners baseball.
Oh yeah, they had to do something.
They're like, we gotta find some form of entertainment because what's on the field right now is not entertaining. So less dancing, more winning baseball. I'll take that trade.
Did you guys ever want to do the pre-game things they do with kids and take them out on the field to catch fly balls for prizes, and have the dad try to catch a ball with a net or a giant hat, or the fun
Pop fly with a catch.
Yeah,
is the name of that game.
that's
Pretty
right.
good title, honestly, because the kid gets a couple tries with his glove, and then when the parent comes out, they'd spin some wheel, and it's always some random bullshit. They're like, catch this major league pop-up with a cookie tray. And you're
Yeah.
like, shit. Okay, I'll try.
I always wanted to be like the dad in that situation, so I'm like, yeah, dude, I want to go catch something with some silly thing, like a giant mitt or a giant hat or a soup bowl, some bullshit.
I've never done any of the pregame festivity or kind of games like that for the Mariners. But Nate and I once at a Seattle T-Birds game got to do on ice bowling in between. It was first intermission. And what sucked, it was a playoff game. And we had to leave our seats a little bit early to go down and get ready to go in the intermission. And in that time span, the T-Birds scored 4 goals in about 1:09. And we were down in the tunnel, and we just hear the crowd erupting and the goal horn going off. And we're like, oh, we missed one. 20 seconds later, another one went off. And yeah, they scored 4 goals in 1:09. It was crazy.
That's wild.
It was a little bit of a bum we got to miss it, but
That reminds me of the time you, Nate, and I were together watching the Mariners game to make the playoffs. We were at a bar, and every time Patrick would go outside, we had to make a massive comeback against the Blue Jays. Is that what that was?
well, we were in the playoffs. That was
it
our
was
wild
in-
card game.
Okay,
when
yeah.
we were that 7-run comeback. But yeah, at the mustard seed.
Yeah, and every time Patrick would step outside to smoke or whatever, he was going to go get some fresh air.
Fresh air,
He'd be watching
eat
through
my
the
vegetables
window.
out there, just clean stuff.
Every
Take my
time he'd
vitamins.
go outside, dude, the Mariners would start a rally. So he'd go outside and he'd stand out there and watch through the window and be like, I can't go back inside. I'll ruin it. And it worked like a charm. Every time he went outside, the Mariners started a rally. And I think you're a good luck charm like that. You don't have the eyes on the ice, they score 4 goals. All right, back into baseball here. Who do you think is going to steal the most bases on our team? I think it's pretty obvious, but I want to get kind of a running
Oh, Taylor Trammell.
list. Oh yeah,
Taylor Trammell leading the team.
42 stolen bases.
42 stolen bases. That's what I was gonna say.
Polanco.
I think we're all going to say Julio Rodriguez as the shining
Yeah, I
example
think-
of stolen
I think
base leader.
Julio's gonna have 40 again this year.
Oh yeah,
Luke
hope
Raley
so.
a fast guy?
Yeah,
Meh.
I
Okay.
think he's kind of fast, but we don't know. I don't know yet.
Okay.
It's been a really long time since we were like a base stealing team. Like Julio stole a whole bunch last year. But even still, like in the darker days, I remember when I think it was Michael Saunders led the Mariners in stolen bases with like 17 or something.
I guess, would you see Sam Haggerty and Dylan Moore, Samad Taylor, whoever these speedy guys off our bench, do you think those guys are going to have more stolen bases than our starting lineup? I think like Luke Raley is actually a good guess for some stolen bases this year. Good call, Garrett. I think he's young and fast. Do you think like Dom Canzone's going to steal bases?
I don't know. Probably Cal Raleigh.
Yeah.
Stole second in a spring training game.
Yeah, he did. And now he's hurt.
Fast as shit.
Yeah, bruised his heel stealing second,
He
apparently.
was too fast. He was clomping down too hard on the dirt.
I heard the pitcher was trying to pick him off a couple times. They were playing some fun games, and he decided to take off on his own, and now he's out for day-to-day with a bruised heel.
It was actually funny. I just happened to like have the spring training game on, like right when that was about to happen. They like threw a pick off over to Cal, and Rick Riz and Dave Sims are like, "Oh yeah, better keep him honest in over there, known stolen base guy, Cal Raleigh." And then sure enough, the very next pitch he took off and safely stole, and Riz and Sims were losing their shit. They're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it." I mean, a catcher doing a straight steal? It's definitely a rare thing.
I think he saw Ty France beat Mookie Betts to second base and took a note out of his book. It's like, I can do this too.
Bro, seeing pictures of Ty France is so crazy. He's lost so much weight. He looks like a little kid out there now. He's tiny.
Barely fits his jersey.
I know.
He needs to downsize. It's
Good for him.
It's too flowy.
Let's see some more doubles from Ty France this year.
I think
There's
Ty's
less
looking
mass
good.
to get hit by pitches.
Oh, that's true. He's gonna have to lean in even closer now.
Maybe keep that jersey big.
Yeah.
I think that extra bat speed lets him get to that inside pitch, and he's just gonna he's ripped those pitches now. Pitchers try to pitch him inside all the time because I think it's his weakness, and end up hitting him. But now he's gonna be able to get his hands in on that pitch and rip them down the line. So he's gonna surprise the shit out of these pitchers with the adjustments he's been making. I think his swing looks good. Every time I've seen him swinging, I'm like, oh yeah, that's hit artist Ty France, and he's back.
He is back.
I mean, certainly hope so. You know, it would be a bummer if he did put all this time in drive line and he doesn't see the results like J.P. Crawford did.
It'd be a big bummer.
But I don't know. I have a lot of faith in Ty France.
I mean, JP came out of drive line and then led the league in walks. Maybe Ty just gets better eyes and stops swinging at bullshit and just ups his walks, big on base percentage, and maybe he does get his hands in on.
And when he
some.
does hit the ball,
But yeah, maybe he just swings less, gets on base that way. That's also a positive.
Yeah. Moneyball status. Just get on base.
yeah, let someone else hit it over the wall and jog around the bases. Ty France will probably be hitting lower in our order than we've seen him. Like, we've kind of seen him hit all over the place, sometimes second, sometimes fifth, but I feel like he's kind of going to be down in that 6-7
6
hole.
or 7 with Mitch Haniger probably.
Yeah, Haniger might
Little
even...
1-2, Ty to Mitch. I like that a lot.
Yeah, with guys like Polanco and... I mean, Cal Raleigh stuffs up the middle of our order there. Cal Raleigh, Polanco, Julio, JP in some sort are going to be at the top of our order, and
I'm thinking
down in 5,
JP
6, 7 is where
JP's got to be leading off all year.
JP, then Polanco, then Julio.
Oh, you like Polanco hitting second? I kind of do too.
Yeah,
I've been seeing that in our lineups.
yeah. Then Julio, third, and maybe
Cal
Cal
fourth.
Raleigh fourth.
And Mitch Garver, that's who I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
missing. He'll be in there in the 4 or 5 hole every day.
That sounds good to me. I like that.
And then Ty France and Mitch Haniger 6, 7. Oh, Cal Raleigh. That makes our lineup really deep.
Yeah, it's nice when you lay it out like that. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, and then
What
we have
happened?
like our 8, 9 spots are kind of our quick guys, or even if Rojas or Canzone is in there, that they have power potential too. I think our whole lineup is pretty deep. Luis Urias had a pretty good on base percentage last year, despite not having a high OPS or even batting average, but his on-base percentage was still like 361. So even if he doesn't pack a power potential like the left-handed Rojas does, the right-handed Urias can hit lefties, and he walked half as much as he struck out, which isn't bad. And if his on-base can stay high enough, it doesn't matter if his OPS is there, because we do have bangers in our lineup already. He just needs to get on base.
I'm excited to see Urias and Rojas platoon at third. I want to see both of them take a big step up this year. That'd be awesome.
I'm really excited for our strikeout numbers at the plate to be down this year. I think that's one of the things I'm actually most excited about just overall, because strikeouts are just, oh man, they're demoralizing, they're shitty. There's literally nothing good can come of it. Even if you hit like a tall ass pop up to the first baseman, there's a chance, the ball's in play, something could happen. Strikeouts, there's nothing to show for it. And the fact that we had Suarez and Hernandez on our team last year, two of the Suarez led the league in strikeouts, and Hernandez was like top 3.
Not far behind, yeah.
So, that's over 400 strikeouts.
Yep.
That are now no longer in our lineup, which is a huge positive.
That was one of our biggest problems. We can't be striking out at 25 to 30% rates. We can't have that many guys in our lineup that are doing that. So our front office addressed that as soon as possible. Like, we did hear they were shopping Teoscar around at the deadline last year, even though the Mariners were still kind of in the race. We traded Seawald. Teoscar was being talked about. So was Ty France. And now I feel like we kind of have an idea of who the Mariners would be trading, or like, we got rid of those guys. We got rid of Suarez. We got rid of Teoscar. Ty France went to Driveline and made improvements. They stuck with their guy. And I like where the Mariners have done what they've done. The front office is who I want to commend, is what I'm trying to say here. The front office has done a good job cutting down on strikeouts and putting more veteran players that have proven that they can put the bat on the ball on a regular basis for over 5-6 years. We brought in guys who are 30 plus that have proven what they can do. Like, that's what I was calling for last year, is like, let's get some veteran guys in here that know how to get this done on a regular basis and lessen the volatility. And without Kelenic, without Teoscar, without Eugenio Suarez, adding guys like Mitch Garver, Mitch Haniger, and Luke Raley is a young guy who he might strike out a bit too, but we have guys coming up like Cade Marlowe, who's going to strike out a little bit less than Kelenic did. So I'm excited. We already have pieces back in place to put the ball in play, and that's the kind of team the Mariners need to be. So when the Mariners are relying on hitting the ball over the fence, it doesn't work out. This team needs to be pitching defense first, and then speed utility needs to be kind of a lower tier, where now it is. We're kind of more balanced in a way. I think our team's way more balanced than it ever was. We don't have to worry about all those holes, the strikeouts in everyday look.
Another one of our big issues the last couple seasons was leaving the bases loaded.
Oh my God.
It was bad. It
Yes.
was very bad.
I think that's where guys like Polanco and Garver are huge.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what are we doing to lessen that issue?
That's getting rid of, 400
Strikeouts.
strikeouts, Because, yeah, and the fact that the Mariners had the bases loaded so much last year shows that they were getting people on base. They had their chances to be productive. And then, especially a lot of times, like, Teoscar and Suarez were batting, like, right next to each other. So they come up, that's 2 strikeouts right there, and it's just, yeah, get them on, get them over, get them in. Like, the bases loaded stuff is, like, I don't even know how you directly work on that, but that needs to change. And it's one thing if you load the bases with 2 outs and you can't get one in. It's like, all right, that sucks, but I get it. But when you're having bases loaded, no outs, 1 out, over and over and over again, and you can't get one damn run in, like,
especially seeing that from Julio, that was a big bummer last year.
I wish I could like have the like find the stats to like how many times he came up to bat with the bases loaded and like what he did. But the majority of it was strikeout.
It definitely seemed that way.
I'll look up those stats real quick.
Why haven't we named the Moose? It's always been the Mariner Moose. Can't he get a name?
I've always wondered, why is it the Mariners and not the Mariners?
Because the Mariners isn't a word and the Mariners is a word.
Yeah, but like if you like look at someone that works at a marina, wouldn't they be Mariners?
I think they're Marinists.
So the Seattle Marinists?
No. But why can't we name him Bruce? Bruce Moose.
Bruce the Moose?
That'd be cool.
He's just the Moose.
Remember
Monty.
Jay Bruce?
Monty Moose.
Monty Moose.
He's just the Mariner Moose. All the other teams name their mascots. It's not the
I mean, Philly
San
Fanatic.
Diego bird. What is it?
The Padres mascot is like a weird like friar guy.
Yeah, he's a father. He's a friar.
Yeah,
I wonder if he has a name.
probably.
The Friar.
The Friar, the San Diego Friar.
I found
Maybe.
it. I have found it. All right, so we got Julio with the bases loaded.
Yeah.
All right. He came up 24 times in 22 games. So in 2 games, he came up twice. So 22 at bats, 11 runs, 20 RBIs, 4 strikeouts. He hit .318 and had an .830 OPS with the bases loaded. So he actually did pretty well. He had a 125 OPS plus.
Is that?
That's not what I remember.
I
I
know.
watched a
on
lot
my
of
eye
games
test.
and got real
I
frustrated.
think we don't remember what he did down the stretch, but I mean,
I don't think the
he was
Mariners had a
7 for-
single hit with the bases loaded last year.
He was 7 for 22, 1 double, 1 triple, no home runs. I think that's what we remember is he didn't hit a grand slam, but
Did he not hit a grand slam last year?
but he killed it with runners and
How are you going to hit a grand slam when you don't hit anything with the bases loaded?
dude, he did really well with the bases loaded. With first and third, he hit 600 with runners on first and third and an OPS of 1.5 is insane. With first and third, 2 home runs. This is crazy. But yeah, he did well. But the Mariners in general did not, though. And that was a big problem. I don't know. That's what it says.
Propaganda.
I disagree. That's not what the eye test says.
Well, the
Eye
stats
test doesn't lie.
And
The
that's
stats tell you
scripture.
otherwise, man.
These
hit
eyes don't
over-
lie, Matt.
Over 300 with the bases loaded, 4 strikeouts.
That's impossible.
Bunch of hoopla.
I watched him strike out more than 4 times with the bases loaded
In a game.
in person last year. There's no way he only struck out 4 times with the bases loaded. That's impossible.
Bases occupied, 1, 2, 3, 4 strikeouts. He did end up being like, what, 3rd or 4th in MVP voting.
Yeah, he could have been first if he didn't strike out 4 times with the bases loaded.
He could have carried this team even more. What do we expect from Julio realistically? I mean, I think, I've said it, Julio is going to be an MVP this year.
Hell yeah, sophomore slump is real. He's coming back, baby. Get ready.
And his sophomore slump, actually wasn't even... I mean, he had improvements over his rookie year.
Shohei Ohtani's not in the league anymore, and he wouldn't be pitching this year anyway. But Aaron Judge is still there. We'll see if he can stay healthy and hit 60 bombs again. I mean, it's hard to repeat that. And I think Julio has a much more repeatable path than Aaron Judge hitting 60 again. And without Shohei in the league, it's a clear path for Julio Rodriguez to win the crown this year.
Yeah, and also Shohei, I mean, realistically should win MVP every single year because he's pitching and hitting. But with his Tommy John and him not pitching along with his hitting this year, I mean, it definitely opens up for someone else to win MVP. And yeah, he's not taking the votes away from the American League anymore now that he's on the Dodgers. So, I mean, it's up in the air, but I think we all know Taylor Trammell is probably going to be MVP.
Breakout player of the year, Taylor Trammell. I would love if Taylor Trammell would break out, man. I'm still so low on. I want him to prove me wrong.
Me too.
Speaking of players that never really broke out, old fan favorite, Mariners legend Mike Zunino has announced his retirement. Only 32 years old.
Mike Z.
Loved Mike Z. Awesome dude. Could not hit a baseball to save his life.
Curveballs? Nope. Fastballs? Sure. I could not hit a curveball.
He really couldn't. I saw a graphic recently that there's only 4 players in Major League history that had a career average under 200 while having over 3,000 plate appearances. And Mike Zunino is on that list. Career average of 199.
He just made it under the mark there. Forever remember Mike Zunino. Was that the Mendoza line he made it under?
Yeah, dude. I say, I wonder what he does. Is he going to coach? Is he going to put him in the broadcast booth?
I could see him being on a mic. He has a really good personality. He's always been one of the nicest guys in the game, and everyone that talks about him on podcasts that know him, have known him, former players, they're all like, dude, he's the nicest guy you'll ever meet. He's a hard worker, and he has a great personality. I think you could see him on TV and on a mic somewhere.
I don't know. I don't know if he has enough ties with the Mariners to really do anything here with us. I don't think that would necessarily be the case. And unfortunately enough, also, he never really had a home for that long. He spent his longest time with the Mariners and then bounced around. He was on Cleveland, Tampa Bay. Yeah, I mean, just, a year here or 2 there.
I could see him being a Florida guy.
Yeah, maybe he just retires early, has all that money stacked away, and just goes fishing all the time.
Yeah, I read this Sports Illustrated article. Actually, it wasn't ESPN, whatever. But about old Mariners catcher John Jaso.
Oh, yeah.
Who that dude just retired young. He also wasn't great, but he retired when there was still career left to be had. And yeah, now he just hangs out on a boat and he's like a super big hippie.
There you go.
He took all his money and literally just spends his time out on the ocean, just surfing and fishing.
It's the way to do it.
Yeah.
I remember that guy having dreads.
Yeah,
for,
he
the
was.
Pirates and,
he looked like he listened to a lot of Sublime.
I think he had reggae as his walk-up music.
Big 311 guy. Hey, speaking of old Mariners, I have a little bit of a segment you guys want to try out.
Yeah.
What's
A bit
up?
of a Where Are They Now?
Oh, yeah.
If I give you guys some names, you think you can tell me where these ex-Mariners are, what they're doing today?
Well, we could give it a shot.
All right, I kind of want to start with one of the maybe easier ones, ease into it. Where is Luis Torrens right now?
Oh, God. I don't know.
New York, last I saw.
I was going to say a Ford dealership or something. Selling cars.
Come on, he's still in the
He's a
league.
Yankee.
He's a Yankee.
He's in the Yankees organization.
He can play second base now. It made
He's
him way
in-
more valuable.
As what?
He's no, I'm saying he's playing for Scranton or something like that right now.
Oh, I figured he was in the organization as a ticket booth salesman.
He's slanging glizzies.
I think he's learning how to pitch.
He's been knowing how to pitch. All right. Okay, this is probably an easier one. Kyle Lewis,
Unsigned.
free agent.
Free agent. He's nowhere.
Nowhere.
He's
in
trying
the
to
league.
find a job.
He's working at Foot Locker.
How about Shed Long? What happened to Shed Long? Where'd he end up?
Pirates.
Pirates?
I thought he went to Pirates.
There's no
last.
way he's still in the league.
I haven't heard Shed Long's name in
Pirates.
quite a
Pirates
while.
minor league.
He
I would
had
be
to have been
sh-
pushed out at some point.
I would be surprised if he's even still on a minor league roster. That would blow my mind.
He broke the major league rosters, and then I think he got pushed out. I don't think he's in baseball anymore.
He plays for the High Point Rockers in the Atlantic League.
All right.
So
He's playing baseball somewhere.
he's playing baseball somewhere.
So
Yeah.
the Pirates minor league team.
Yeah, you get points for that one.
He just loves baseball enough to keep playing in the Atlantic
Also,
League.
I was reading about him. He's from Alabama, and it was a huge football family. His whole family is totally into football, and he just gravitated towards baseball, and it was like weird. Like it weren't a baseball family by any means, but
He wasn't related to Terrence Long then.
I don't think so.
I remember Terrence Long wore the jaw guard. He played for the Oakland A's in the early 2000s, and he had like the long jaw guard on his helmet. And he was one of the only players that did that. Anyway, yeah, Terrence Long.
All right, I got two more here. A couple of ex-Mariners Sogcast doppelgangers. Ben Gamel.
Oh, is he on the Brewers still?
Nope.
Phils?
Reds.
No,
Nope.
not the Phillies. That's the other guy.
Jake Fraley's still on the Reds.
The Fraley. He's still on the Reds?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Okay.
playing. Ben Gamel is somewhere in the Mets organization.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yo, my girlfriend one time on Facebook, she was talking about the Mariners to someone else on Facebook. And this old lady like chimed in, one of her like family friends, and she was like, "Oh, my best friend's son used to play for the Mariners." And so we went to her page and looked at her, and sure enough, her son was Ben Gamel. But that was just funny that like this little lady was like, "Oh yeah, I know someone that used to play there," and it was Ben Gamel.
That is funny.
Yeah.
And
I liked Ben Gamel. He had the long hair. Taylor Motter had the long hair.
Speaking of, my next
Yeah?
one is where the hell is Taylor Motter?
Ooh, I know he was playing.
He's the last I saw, he was like on some team called like the Bumblebees. And
Thought he was into the Pirates organization. Maybe. Taylor Motter. I know he was around for a minute.
he was also a notorious asshole.
Was he?
Yeah,
I know he had the flow, the big blonde hair.
yeah. He was another one that got in like kind of a behind the scenes fight in the clubhouse.
Jake
and like
Fraley.
was kind of a jerk.
Taylor
and they
Motter
gave him
fight.
the boot.
Taylor Motter
He was all
is
right.
currently a free agent, and he's 34 years old. So
Yeah, I saw last I saw was like 4 years ago, and he was playing for some like the Braxton Bees of the Pacific League.
The PCL. So like the Salt Lake Bees or
No, it wasn't even that. It was
somewhere in the KBO.
yeah, it was like
Okay. Well, Taylor Motter seems to have been aged out of the game. He didn't quite make
It
it.
seems that way, yeah.
Okay.
He's getting up there in age. Yeah, last I heard he was on the Cardinals, I think, or maybe like, yeah, I don't know. He's out there
he's somewhere.
trying to get a job.
Well, hey, the Mariners know who to call if we need someone to fill in. Taylor Motter. Come on down.
I remember officially hating Taylor Motter when there was a game. He came in the ninth. We were down by one. He came in for a pinch runner with one out and immediately got picked off. Didn't even he was just frozen on there. Like didn't even dive back to the bag. Just got steady picked. And then the next pitch, Kyle Seager hit one to the wall, which would have scored Motter and tied the game. But because he was out there looking at his shoelaces, the Mariners lost. It was just a double. Didn't mean anything. Mariners lose by one. Fuck Taylor Motter.
Classic Mariners.
On that note, that concludes my Where Are They Now segment.
Nice.
That's fun, though. You should dig up some more guys.
I'll look at
Yeah,
some
at
more.
some point.
Some guys that are doing some things outside of baseball, like retired guys.
Okay. I didn't know if
Yeah.
I wanted to put retired guys
Then,
in there, but
then we can guess what they're doing, if they're involved in the game or if they have some kind of foundation or
like
a
a vote or
or
an
if they-
Ichiro or something.
or if they go hunting, fishing. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll bring up back
That's
some
fun.
more.
I remember it was like 2 years ago or whatever, we looked up, we're like, oh, what's Raul Ibanez up to these days? And he has like some super high profile job with MLB.
Yeah, he has
Like-
something to do with the players' union and
Yeah,
all that.
something like that. And I was
He's
just like,
like-
damn, good
yeah.
for him.
Raul's the guy too. Like he was around for a long time, played for some higher profile teams like the Yankees down the stretch, and he was around the league. He played in the minors a long time. He knows what the player side of baseball is really about, and he's really good at talking about it too. I heard him on a couple podcasts.
He's the vice president of baseball development and special projects for the Dodgers. He was like part of the whole pitch clock thing and he was like the president of baseball rules or something like that for a minute.
Yeah, he was some sort of spokesperson or a guy in a high position. representing the player side of things, I thought. But either way, he's one of those guys. It's really good to have around the game of baseball for a long time.
Yeah, vice president of on-field operations.
There you
is
go.
what he was for a minute.
Yeah,
But I
so
guess he works for the Dodgers now. Good for him. He's
Oh,
still
wow.
out there getting it done.
Yeah.
getting paid, I'm sure.
Speaking of like old Mariners and stuff, Jay Buhner was brought back into the booth today during spring training, and
Damn, I missed that one.
it's been a long time since he's been on. He even like mentioned it too. He's like, "Oh, you guys don't really have me on anymore." Da, 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 da.
Aw,
But,
he's salty about it.
Oh, the
I
bone
think-
doesn't get on the broadcast.
But it's fun. He's out in Texas now, I guess. He's loving Texas.
I could see that.
Also, they said they're bringing back Buhner Buzz Cut at some point this year.
Hell yeah.
Dude,
So-
I'll think about getting a Buhner buzz cut.
Not me.
I got real long hair right now. You guys don't see me on we're just an audio podcast, but
I just cut my long hair. I'm going to grow a reliever mullet.
I might do a Buhner buzz.
I should have kept growing the cul-de-sac out and then had it for Buhner Buzz Night. Now every day is Buhner Buzz Day for me.
We got to do a special Sogcast promo where you shine your head and distract people.
Yes. Bring it back.
That turtle wax. Let the sun gleam off it just right.
I'm going to be growing my Kenny Powers out, so be on the lookout for that.
Dude, the All-Star game was here last year. That was sick.
I got to be there.
I went to the home run derby. It was really cool. What's the best Mariners game you've ever been to, or like your favorite Mariners game? Like mine, well, I wasn't at like these last playoff games these last years, but I was at the last game in the Kingdome, for example. So that one's unforgettable. Rusty Greer going deep in the first inning. Jose Mesa closing it out.
I don't know. I've seen some bangers. Jose Guillen's push bunt down the first base line for like the win 116.
Carlos Guillen.
Yeah. What did I say?
Jose Guillen.
Oh, whoops.
Different guy, but
Definitely
you know.
meant Carlos Guillen. I even have an autographed Carlos Guillen bat. But yeah, Carlos Guillen, his push bunt down the first base line. That one was pretty crazy. Cal's home run to send us to the playoffs. That was an insane game.
That's wicked. I just got hella goosebumps, dude. That was wild.
Yeah.
Maybe you just have to pee.
Maybe.
Yeah, I've seen some bangers. I've also seen a lot of shitters. Well, that's what happens when you have like season tickets for like 30 years. You
Yeah,
see a
same.
lot, and you see a lot of really dope stuff. I saw Alex Rodriguez get knocked unconscious once. That was crazy.
Yes.
Like actually slumped, and like at that time, it was actually pretty scary. He was out for quite a long time.
What happened?
He was sliding in to second base over a double play, and if I'm not mistaken, the one turning it over the middle was Alex Cora, Joey Cora's brother and current manager of Red Sox still.
Yeah, I think he's still at the Sox.
But yeah, A-Rod slid in, and Alex tried to jump over him, and his knee just caught him right in the forehead and completely slumped him. It was wild. That was crazy.
I slightly remember that now that you're talking about it.
One of the coolest catches of all time, I saw Stan Javier reach up over the fence, and it caught in the webbing of his glove, and he flipped it back over and then fell on his back and caught the ball. That one was crazy. That's probably one of the craziest catches I've ever seen. Yeah, seen all types of stuff.
Stan Javier is a dude I forgot about. He's a guy I need to use in Immaculate Grid more often. For sure. I need to look up Stan Javier and what teams he was on. I think he played for almost 20 years.
Just one of those guys.
I'm ass at Immaculate Grid.
I was immaculate today.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm hit or miss.
I usually get 7 or 8, but some days I get like 5 or 6 and I'm pissed off.
My problem is when I try to get too cute with it. I'm like, oh yeah, this guy definitely had 30 home runs in a season.
I get too cute with 30 stolen bases all the time. 30 stolen bases is a tough one.
Elvis Andrews.
Yeah, I just got Elvis Andrews. Lucky enough, he had stolen 31 bases in a season.
He did it for you.
Yes.
Well, I mean, honestly, I want the season to start. I'm so eager.
We're
so ready.
itching.
Yeah, we're ready to go.
Yeah,
Let's
we're
wrap this
itching. We've got
preseason up.
We've got one more spring training episode to do, right before the season starts. And then, boom, regular season baseball will be here. And that's going to be everything for like the next 6 months.
Yeah, the Mariners are paring down their team, and they have to get it all the way down to 26 men to start the season. So we'll be talking about those final cuts here next week. We kind of brought them up in previous episodes if you want to go back and actually hear what we said about most of our new players.
That's when we were working with like 73 dudes in spring training. We're getting down there. We're cutting it to 26.
Oh, so yeah, our next episode, we should pretty much have like the full, this is the official opening day roster, and it'll be kind of interesting and go over that. And then regular season baseball will be here. Game every day. Nothing beats baseball season, man. Warm summer night, baseball on the radio, playing some cornhole.
And spring has sprung here in the Pacific Northwest.
We'll see. It's one of those fake springs where we
Yeah.
get a sunny day and then it's going to turn shitty for 6 more weeks, and then
It shows its face and then turns its back on us. That damn groundhog.
well, thank you all for joining us for another week. I hope you're as itching as we are for the games to get going and to start mattering, and summer baseball is quickly approaching. I couldn't be more excited.
The grass is green. The field is prepped. Everything's ready.
The air is wet.
Let's get them lights on.
I know. I need a time machine to fast forward 14 days.
Well, we've made it this far through the off season. I think we can struggle through another couple weeks. What do you say?
Yeah.
Let's do it together.
We're doing it. And we'll be back next week with all more Mariners news to keep you the most informed fan base in America. Thank you all so much for listening. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, tell your friends, and we'll be back next week. And go Mariners!
And we're back for another episode of the Mariners Sogcast. Bow, bow.
We are 2 weeks away from the regular season. Something like that. We are at the second to last spring training, something along those lines. Fuck, it's hard to feel motivated.
Come on, man.
I know. I'm trying.
Podcast.
I know. Someone else want to rock an intro?
Trying to think.
The spring training futures game has been canceled. And yep, you guessed it. It's because the Mariners have no future.